Okay, it's 5:30, Monday, November 13th, 2017, and I'm calling the meeting of the Paris City Council to order. Invocation will be by Gene Anderson and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we do indeed praise you for who you are and all that you've done for us, and we pray that tonight, Father, that you would guide and direct our council as they make decisions, Father, that affect our city. We thank you for their service. We thank you, Father, for those who are here attending the meeting and who are interested, Father, in our community and all that happens here. We just ask that you guide us and direct us and bless our nation. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for a Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the council. I'm Brian Rainey. I'm with Blankenship Oil Company at 1425 South Church. Here in regards to item agenda number 16, the fuel contract for the city of Paris. I'm a local company. All my profits stay here. The vehicles I buy here. My food, contractors, everything is done right here in this community. All the profit from the contract stays right here in this community. The bids, I was not the low bidder, but I was lower than the, I guess, the bid that is being submitted for the contract. Not only was I the low bid, my 12 cents above rack, and the rack price is what the cost of the fuel is, and the state tax was 12 cents above that. That's my cost throughout the length of the contract. 4 cents freight, 8 cents profit. There are no additional costs. That's it. No anything. The contract that is being set forth, there are some additional costs above the price of the fuel, the rack, and the freight. There's going to be some monthly electric costs, some administrative costs, some electric gating I'm hearing that's going to have to be installed. And I know with this contract there is a option it's for 3 years. Mine is unlimited. I mean, it rolls over from 1 year to the next. I know the contract that's being set forth by the finance department, it does lower after 3 years, years 4, 5, and 6, which are at 13.5 above rack and tax, which is still higher than my bid through year 6. I've attached a weekly bill. I don't know if any of you have ever even seen a city fuel bill, but I have attached one there.
Mr. Rainey, the 2 minutes are up, but I'll be happy to let you speak when this item comes up for you to continue your talk, but I'd like to move the Citizens Forum on. But please, you're certainly welcome to come up and speak when this item comes up and then at that point we can respond to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to address the council?
I'm Don Wilson. I live at 3110 Stacy Lane. I'm here tonight to question the selection of streets that are being reworked with the street bond funds. I am concerned that most funds allocated on this first contract are being spent in only one district. This has the appearance of ward politics. If these were the worst streets in town or the heaviest traveled, then I would not be standing here tonight. Some of these streets in this contract have only sections of the street that are in bad repair, with the remainder in better shape than most of our other city streets. This is true of 7th Northwest and Cherry Street between 20th and 25th. I know because I own 400 feet of property along East Cherry Street, and it should not be placed ahead of other streets in my district that are in worse shape and heavier traffic on those streets. The total length of Cherry is about 1,700 feet, with only 350 feet of that needs mill and overlay. This is why I'm concerned, because on 28 Southeast, which is an extension of South Collegiate, has a heck of a lot more traffic. I would say by multiples of 4, 5, or 6, or I don't know, and it's in much worse shape than Cherry Street, but it is not even on the master list to ever be done, and that concerns me. Same thing with 31st Southeast. It is such a feeder street that it even has a state light, traffic light there, and yet it's not on the master list, and it's in worse shape than Cherry Street. I have visited and driven these streets with some of you on the council to show my concern. I would respectfully request that this be put on a future agenda or a citizens committee forum or whatever, so that the citizens can have input and open discussion with the council and the staff about the selection process before moving forward and spending more bond money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? Seeing none, the Citizens Forum is now closed. Next, we have a proclamation. Let me read this proclamation declaring, proclamation, whereas hospice care provides humane and comforting support for the terminally ill patients and their families, including pain control, palliative medical care, and social, emotional, and spiritual services. And whereas hospice fulfills basic human needs of feeling comfortable in familiar surroundings and of obtaining physical and emotional peace during the last stage of life. And whereas there is a need to increase public discussion about advances in pain control and the care options available to individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds who are at the end of life. And whereas the Texas Association for National Hospice Care Month and hospice providers in Texas have declared November 2017 as Hospice Care Month and are calling on all Texans to observe this occasion. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Paris does hereby declare November 2017 as Hospice Care Month, and we encourage the support and participation of all citizens in learning more about the home care and hospice philosophy of care. I'm going to present this to the representatives of Cypress Basin Hospice who are here today. Small world. I've worked with her years ago. Next item is the consent agenda. Anyone on the council wish to pull anything? Yes.
Yes, sir. I would like to pull item 6B from the consent agenda.
Okay. 6B has been pulled. Do we approve it without?
You can.
Let's just discuss 6B right now, and then we'll see where we go with it.
Okay.
Anybody else wish to pull anything? Okay. So 6B is on the table here. Would you like to discuss it?
Yes, sir, I sure would. This is the minutes from the October 11th Historic Preservation Commission meeting. I'm not sure if the council members had a chance to read this or not, but there's a resolution that's attached to this. And I'm unclear as to whether or not by accepting these minutes, we are approving said resolution, or if we are not approving said resolution, why and how do we get it on the agenda?
because this is the Historic Preservation Commission has been working on this issue for several months with our city attorney, and it's time to present it to the city council for action.
You want to take that or you want me to? I don't think that by approving their minutes, you're approving the resolution. You're certainly welcome to put that on a future agenda for a full council discussion.
How can the item with regard to the plat on the CEFCO building, which was just approved on Monday at Planning and Zoning, how can that come before our council for approval? And this resolution from the Historic Preservation Commission that was finalized to be presented to the city council on 10/11/2017, how come it's not on our agenda yet?
No one's asked to put it specifically, this resolution on the agenda for discussion. I mean, it's asking for a specific council action
Okay.
well, y'all have got the resolution in front of you.
Where's the paperwork? I'll fill it out and do it.
Will you do that with the city clerk?
Okay. So from now on, anything that any group wants to have presented to city council has got to go through that process, except for the Planning and Zoning Commission? Or does everything that they approve automatically come before us without
Everything that
something
the
being
Planning and
signed?
Zoning Commission does comes in front of you as it doesn't go through the consent agenda.
Well, how does it get on the agenda? That's my question.
Yeah.
And why didn't this get on the agenda?
if
You
the
know how long
commission-
the Historic Preservation Commission's been working on this.
Yeah, if the commission, or any board or commission has something they want to go to the council, it should be on the agenda. So that was some sort of mistake if that's what they've requested. So we'll have it on the next agenda. You don't need to go through the process of filling out a form. As
Okay.
far as what's on this agenda, this is just you receiving the minutes. It's not possible for you to approve their minutes because you don't know if their minutes are accurate or not. These are just minutes they provide you with information. So the minutes don't do anything other than it's an opportunity for you to see them and know them. So that's a separate subject. But yes, we'll have that on the agenda for the December 11th meeting for sure.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other discussion regarding that item? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda
So moved.
to approve, and second by Mr. Stranato. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. All right, item number 13, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition. Whoops.
It's been tabled.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is one we're supposed to table. Is this correct?
Correct.
Well, I'll make
We just need to table it again.
a motion that we table,
Second it.
item number 13, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's tabled. Item number 14, discuss and act on a resolution canvassing the returns for the special election held on November 7th, 2017, relating to the abolition of the sales and use tax for economic development and the adoption of a sales and use tax for the repair and maintenance of streets in Paris. This is just something that we're required to do, is to pass a resolution canvassing. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any discussion on this at all? I make a motion that we canvass the returns for the special election.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item number 15, discuss and act on a resolution approving the Paris Economic Development Corporation's amendment and termination of Campbell Soup's single-serve beverage line incentive agreement. I'll let Stephanie explain this to us.
In conjunction with the tax abatement agreement that you recently amended and terminated on the single-serve beverage line, PEDC also did an economic incentive agreement roughly at that same time that the City Council approved in January of 2014 for the same reasons that Campbell Soup requested the relief under the single-serve beverage line tax abatement agreement. They've also requested relief under that incentive agreement. And as you will recall, they're bringing in a new Plum Organics line to ameliorate the effects of that. At their last board meeting it was this past Friday, PDC moved and agreed to amend and terminate that
incentive agreement, and since the council had approved that by a resolution prior, the council would need to approve this with a resolution to allow them to amend and terminate that agreement.
Okay. Anyone on the council have any discussion regarding this event, this item? I make a motion that we approve the PEDC's amendment and termination of the Campbell Soup single-serve beverage line incentive agreement.
I'll second you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, now we'll come to item 16, receive bids and award a contract for furnishing and delivery of unleaded gasoline and diesel fuel for use by various departments of the city of Paris. And Gene.
Okay. The city advertised for bids recently for fuel for the city. We advertised in the traditional way that we normally do on a cost-plus basis, where there's the cost of the fuel from whatever source they pick it from. You add profit margin, delivery cost, state taxes that we still have to pay, and any other cost. And that's why we bid for many years now, since we did away with fuel tanks that were located down at Public Works area underground. Those in the past developed a leak, and we had to dig those up and clean that up. And so since that point, we've done it on this cost-plus basis. When the city advertised, we also stated that vendors, in addition to the cost-plus method, could bid other alternate methods, and we invited them basically to submit any alternative method that they wanted. We suggested a couple, one being retail minus, which would be pump price minus so many cents. We also suggested that the possible installation of vendor-owned tanks on city property, and that they would also, if they did that, have to provide appropriate software so the city could know, the usage of the fuel, and we could track it in any method that we wanted to track it, whether it was by vehicle or by employee or by department. And we could basically design our own programs for that. And of course, we were just open to anything they wanted to submit as an alternative. Quite frankly, the main reason we were bidding at this time was not price, but it was the current supplier's hardware had not been functioning as it should function for quite a long time. I will admit that they tried to address that concern, the city's concerns with that equipment, but the problems were never resolved to the city's satisfaction. And I won't go into all those details unless you want to ask that, but we looked at the alternative bids that would get us away from that situation, and there were 5 alternative bids placed. And in analyzing those bids, we considered a number of things. We considered fuel price at the refinery, which is a variable cost because it literally changes every day. We considered delivery cost, profit margin, equipment recovery cost, which are all fixed cost per gallon. We also considered the administrative software that the city would have access to monitor that system. We considered the equipment involved, the tanks and so forth. We looked at vendor reputation. We looked at alternative fueling locations and pricing if the primary location for fuel, if it was on city property, was not available. For example, if there was a power failure or an equipment failure, how would we continue to fuel our vehicles? We also looked at the contract length and the cost over the period of the contract that were being forwarded to us or bid to us. Like I say, we looked at those 7 different issues. The fuel price, as I said, is a variable cost that changes literally every day. All of the vendors have access to the same sources of fuel, so and they're not required to bid or buy from that same supply source during the course of the contract. On the day that we bid, we asked for the price as of a particular day to try to get a better comparison and see where they would be supplying from. The cheapest price that day, as you can tell by looking at the information sheet, summary sheet that I gave you, happened to be the Flint Hills refinery near Fort Worth. It had the lowest unleaded price on that day, October 25th, which is the day we picked for them to bid. That does not mean that it would be the lowest price on any other day. In fact, if you were to look at the month following, oftentimes it was not the lowest price. And sometimes the lowest price was at the closest refinery to Paris, which is the Caddo Mills refinery. So we concluded that the fuel cost quotes were really not the best basis upon which to determine who had the best bid. Instead, the city focused on the fixed cost per gallon of the proposal, since those costs don't change no matter what volume of fuel that we ended up taking. The administrative software packages that were being offered in the alternate bids were very similar, and we really couldn't distinguish and say one was better than the other. The city, like I say, would have full access and control of that, and that is a really good internal control feature, and would be a big improvement over what we're doing now. The equipment likewise was of similar quality, although one vendor did propose larger tanks than the other vendor did. All maintenance on the tanks and equipment would be done by the vendor. Both alternate bidders had acceptable reputations in the community. One of the alternate vendors also has a significant investment in the community in terms of having a local office and 2 stations here that represent a considerable amount on the local tax roll. All the alternate bids had an alternative fueling option. Under one vendor, the city would pay pump price, while the other vendor offered pump price less 3 cents per gallon. One of the alternate vendors had a 5-year contract offer, and the other alternate vendor had a 3-year contract offer with 2 optional 3 years extensions. The staff met, and when we considered all the different variables in the fuel bids, it was our conclusion that the bid from McGraw, named or numbered 1B, was the best combination of all of those factors that we considered, and that's the staff's recommendation to the council.
Okay. All right, I told Mr. Annie I'd let him speak some more, so come on up if you want to.
Thank you, Dr. Kluber. I agree with nearly everything Mr. Anderson says. And to address the issue of were we perfect? No, we were not. One of our biggest issues was receipts at the pump. Both of our locations at 1810 North Main and 1425 South Church are man-free systems similar to what they've proposed. So, you know, if an issue comes up with the receipt printer, you know, it may be hours before somebody gets there to fix it. I'm under the impression the system that they've put forth does not even print receipts. I'm not familiar with that system, but I did contact the local pump company and ask them, and they said, no, that actual system does not print receipts. You know, to me, it comes down to sheer economics. Mr. Anderson talked about you can take the refinery, which Caddo Mills is not a refinery, it's a terminal. The refineries mostly are on the coast, and they ship fuel up to Caddo Mills. You can take that cost out of the equation, and if you do, my fixed cost is 12 cents a gallon above, and their initial is 16. And if you look at this cover sheet here, that's an addition above mine. That's 4 cents. The city buys roughly 200,000 gallons of gas and road diesel a year. That's $8,000 a year above me, times 3. The length of the contract is $24,000. I know you haven't had time to thoroughly go through that. That bill, which the city gets every week, has the departments broken down, each vehicle broken down. You can see in every single department within the city has their own account. So whoever's over PD, he can look at this vehicle, got fuel this many times, and so on and so forth. And it tells him the time, the date, and the gallons. It prints it out, and it's been doing that for over 10 years. I'm local. I've been local for 44 years. I was born in Christian Regional. My dad's local. If they were under me, I wouldn't have a complaint, but they're not under me. And I know we've had some issues that we've tried to resolve. And, you know, all along, we've been under the impression that, you know, this could go up for bid at any time, because I was under the impression it's year to year. They could notify me just like this, 60 days, we're putting it out for bid, you know, and that's the way I bid it. I know it was in the bid packet, there were some options, but it was bid I bid it as a 1 year with an extension additional years. You know, not only the 16 cents or the 4 cents above me, if they install pumps, you've got to have electricity to those pumps, security lights to those pumps that are on every night. PD, fire, EMS, those guys, they're around the clock. They're going to have to go through a gate, pull in, get fuel, and close that gate in some form or fashion at one set of pumps. You know, one of the easy things about ours, both our locations are on the street that bisects this city from north to south. One north, one south. If they're getting fuel and get an emergency call, they literally can take the nozzle, stick it up, and drive off. When they hang that nozzle up, it shuts that transaction down at that time. You know, I know like I said, we have by no means been perfect. Haven't had major issues that cost. We haven't had any issues that cost the city money. There's no monetary cost has been involved in any issues we've had. It's accounting. And additionally, this contract that they're proposing, the city is going to have somebody administrate that. Who's going to do that? Is there somebody out there that hasn't had a full day to do that? But I just really wish you would, you know, really consider us and the fact that we've yet to have a time when the city couldn't get fuel while we had the contract. They've never been denied fuel.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rainey. Appreciate
Thank
it. Does anyone on the council have any questions of Mr. Anderson or then we'll start discussion after that.
Well, I had a question regarding, now, we've been working with Blankenship Oil for 10 years, sir? Over 10 years. Has it been renewed every year? It's been a bid, and this is the first time in 10 years that you've been asked to bid?
We talked about it more than once, but it never went to bid.
Okay. And it's because of suddenly, after 10 years, there's a sudden software issue?
Well,
I'm
we
not
have bid it
clear.
out several times in most recent years, and this isn't a sudden problem.
Okay.
We've been complaining for years about it. He's had years to fix it. He's had years to address it, and he hadn't done it.
Okay.
You know, and I could bring department heads up here, one after another, and they would explain the problems they had about it not printing receipts, you know, and not having any paper in it, or being down, you know, and not functioning at all, not reading cards, the gas cards themselves. So it's a major problem. It's a major headache. I've always defended staying with him because he had a good price, you know, but I'm tired of all the complaints and dealing with all that stuff and getting beat up about it. So we went out this time to look and see what's an alternative that we can do that would work for the city of Paris. And we think this alternative will work for the city of Paris. The other expenses that he mentioned, electrical cost and getting in and out of the gates, those are minor issues that won't cost the city any significant money to make that available. The person who would be dealing with the record keeping would be our warehouse supervisor or purchasing agent. Where we're proposing to put the pumps would be physically right behind the warehouse building, okay? And there'd be communication from the pumps to a computer in the warehouse, so that information, we don't need to print a receipt because all that information is going to directly download to that computer. We can design our own reports and have it electronically as opposed to having to take a bunch of paper and put it in a spreadsheet or something that ourselves to really do much analysis to it.
Well, where did this come from? Where did all of this, the bill and all this detail. Where did this come from?
I didn't see what he gave you, so.
Oh,
That came from him.
The previous week, that was from October to November 6th. That was the last bill that we sent the city. We sent them one.
and so you send an itemized bill like this, that's broken out by department heads, or into departments, and down to the cars and everything that's used?
Well, can I see that?
Sure, absolutely. Here you go, sir. So there was that, and if you're getting an itemized bill like that, and I apologize, Mr. Anderson, there's just a disconnect in my mind. That looks like a very thorough bill to me, with all the different cars and the different departments broken out.
Well, I'm not really complaining about the bill. We get a bill every week, okay?
Okay.
From them, roughly. I mean, if I wanted to analyze for a year, I'm either gonna have to physically take these paper bids, enter them into a spreadsheet to do any analysis of it. I can ask Mr. Rainey for some reports that he can provide to me in totals, like I asked him a few weeks ago to give me an indication of the total fuel based on unleaded, on-road diesel and off-road diesel, which he provided. And he provided that pretty promptly, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it may be days before I get it. Sometimes if the wrong person is out sick, it may be weeks before I get it.
I understand.
So,
I appreciate that. Is there any, was there any suggestion to maybe a software upgrade offered to you all? Would you be,
well, we're talking about, that's his software. I have no access to it.
okay,
He can do, whatever he can do with it. This software would be different. The city would have control of it. We could design and print out our own reports anytime we wanted them, in any fashion that we wanted them, which is not the case with Mr. Blankenship, because that's his software, and I'm not sure what all it will do, but I don't think it's gonna be as flexible as what we're gonna receive.
and do you require the individual that purchases gas to get a receipt so that you can look at that and balance it upon,
Well, we
from
do
the
with Mr.
bill?
Blankenship to try to reconcile, as for an internal control purpose, to reconcile that to his statement to match them up.
Understand.
Right now, because receipts don't always print, often don't always print, we're having to generate a document of our own, either fill out a form, in some cases, they're just taking a picture with their iPhone, and sending it to us, so that we've got that check and balance that we need.
I see.
We won't need that in the system that we're proposing, because we have a direct download from that equipment to the computer that will be in the warehouse that will have all that information for us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Mr. Anderson, how long will this contract be for?
The one we're proposing is 3 years.
Okay, okay.
If it doesn't work, we can do something different in 3 years. If it does work, we have options to extend it.
Ms. Portugal?
Well, I really see two issues. The first is, I think I've asked this question before, many cities give a break on a bid to a local company. And I think when possible, that's what I would like to see happen, is use a local vendor. But I also see that some of the staff feels that there have been impediments to just filling up with gas. And then with your department, which is important to keep records and know where the gas is going. So, we want the best price, but we want the best service too.
Yeah, I did take a look at preference for local bidders. We don't have a local policy, even though one was proposed, I think, about 5 years ago, and the council rejected it. There is a state law that allows you to give preference under certain circumstances for construction projects and for personal, not personal property, but, not construction type stuff. And I did look at that to see if the bids as they were proposed would fall under any of that, and they don't meet the bracket requirements, for us to be able to do that. But I did look at that to see if that was possible. And one of the other things that I did want to point out, Mr. Blankenship is local, and he's been here or Blankenship Oil, Mr. Rainey, he's been here for a long time. We appreciate that. We appreciate he pays taxes in addition. McGraw Oil, the people that own it, in addition to owning them, they have 2 local stations, one on South Church and one on North Main, that I looked up on the tax roll were valued over $300,000. So they also pay local taxes, and they have a local office down on Church Street as well. So they're part of the community and have been for a good period of time.
I think at some point we have to trust the staff, and because they're the ones dealing with it every day.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Ms. Portugal on this one. I think you guys are the ones that buy the gas. You know what you're happy with, what you're not happy with. I don't have the firsthand knowledge. I have to take your word for it. My inclination is to go with the staff's recommendation on this. Anyone?
Mr. Anderson, have y'all tried to kind of work this out together? If you've got an issue, you know, you get together with Mr. Rainey and your staff or whoever's.
We've been talking to him for years, literally.
Yeah, Gene doesn't need any help, I know, but just, you know, I've been here for 5 years and 6 months now. The very first week, literally, that I was in Paris, I heard complaints about the system not working properly. Those complaints have not gone away for 5.5 years. This isn't just something that happened a couple of months ago and we got mad and pouted like children and said we're going to go hire somebody else. This has been an ongoing issue for years and years and years. We get a cheap product from a local vendor, but it's not a quality product, quite frankly. The reason we bid this out was because we wanted to try something different to see if it would work better. So the very reason we're here tonight is because of the poor quality of service we received. I hate to say that in a public meeting. I was not wanting to do that, but we're not doing this flippantly or without thinking it through. We've had a problem with quality of service, and there's a lot of details I will not go into publicly unless you make me, but we're not doing this for no good reason. I promise you, we don't operate that way.
So is this the only company that you have a problem with doing business with? Other issues? I mean,
The only company that we've had on a routine basis, yes, sir, that I
Is
can
this-
think of off the top of my head, but I mean, that's not, you know, I don't know.
But I think that
I'm
you
sure there's
oughta-
other people we've been unhappy with over the years. but-
maybe you could, you know, start right now. Sit down, let's talk about this, let's get it solved. This is a local businessman. They've got property here in town,
Yes, sir.
property out town.
If-
And they're always helping other places, other things. Like they help the Special Olympics, they help the Kiwanis Club, and
They're good corporate citizens.
they are.
But
And
that
so-
should not mean that they automatically get our business.
Well, I
They're
don't know.
good people, that's not the issue. The
Okay, now
issue is that
Now,
we've
what
not
if
been
this
pleased
one
with the
comes
service.
in, all our money is going to bond, you know, and I hear everybody gripe, you know, hey, our money's going here, going there. Why can't we keep it here?
Well, again, this company does own property locally as well, the one we're recommending.
I'm certain to
but-
say that Benton and them probably own more and pay more
Yeah,
taxes.
and again, if we want to base bids on that rather than quality of service, that's your option as a council. You can certainly vote against the staff's recommendation, but we feel very strongly about it, and that's why I jumped in with Gene. Not that Gene needs any help,
What
but
happens if this blows up?
then we'll do something different.
And how long is this contract for?
3 years.
So we gotta put up with them for 3 years.
And the reason for the 3-year contract is they're going to buy equipment, they're going to buy tanks to be installed on our property, so they need a length of time to recover that cost. So that's the difference. It's a whole different way of doing
You
things.
say we had to cover the cost?
No, the company does. So that's why they need at least 3
They're
years
gonna cover the cost of everything.
of the equipment that they
Everything.
install, of the tanks.
Okay.
Because otherwise, they could put tanks in, we fire them next month, they're out that money, or else they will have to drag the tanks out and dig them back up. So that's the reason for the contract, for the difference in the contract.
Well, I'll still disagree with you.
All right. Any other discussion from the council on this? Anyone? Well, I'll make a motion that we approve bid 1B from McCraw Oil Company based upon the recommendation of the staff.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Lancaster, how did you vote? For or against? 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 Okay. All right. So that motion fails.
We need to make, what now?
You may make a motion if you wish, Mr. Trinado.
Make a motion to deny it.
Well, we,
Well,
Did we just make that motion, didn't we? Okay. I'm satisfied.
so if you want
Yeah,
to make a
So
motion.
your motion would be to award a contract to an alternative vendor. So if you want to award the contract to Blankenship Oil, then your motion would be to,
Okay. I'll make the motion to award this contract to Blankenship Oil Company.
I'll second that.
okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor? In favor, 4, and 2 against, okay? And the motion passes. All right, next item is Item number 18, I'm sorry, item number 17, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 2-551 of the Code of Ordinances, changing the municipal band commission membership and terms. Ms. Drake, I think you know about that.
Yes, I'm the liaison to the municipal band, and at their last meeting, I was not able to attend because I was out of town, but they came to me afterwards and wanted the ordinance reworked where the band director would be an ex officio member, and he wouldn't have a term limit, and then have that commission expanded from 5 to 6 members, with one of them being an active band member. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
And so it's just so that the band director doesn't come up every 2 years or 3 years for a vote, and as long as that band director is in, they would be the ex officio, and then when he changes, that would change. So it's just.
Sounds pretty reasonable. Any discussion on this item? I'll make a motion that we amend the municipal band commission membership and terms as described.
A second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And item number 18, discuss and provide direction to city staff on an application for disannexation of property filed by Casey and Ashley Johnson.
I wrote the memo on this. Since this application came in and too late to get on this week's agenda, we had 2 additional applications for disannexation come in from this neighborhood. We would recommend that you table this so we can take them all together for consistency's sake. And we're trying to gather some information. There's a bit of a patchwork of who provides services to whom out there, so.
All right. Yeah.
I make a motion, we table number
Second.
18.
All in favor of tabling this? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's tabled. And item number 19, convene into executive session pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code. 1, to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations. Or 2, to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect described by subdivision 1 as follows: Project Orange Fire. It is now 7:11 and.
6:11.
I'm sorry.
It's changed the
Oh,
clock.
that clock hasn't been fixed. Okay. It's 6:11 and we're going to
We hadn't
executive
been
session.
that long.
6:47, we're now out of executive session. We discussed a potential business prospect and potential incentive that might be offered. Item number 21, future events for the city council. Anyone have any discussion on that?
You do have your special meeting on December the 9th, so please send me agenda items as you have them.
I've got my list ready.
Right. And I make a motion for adjournment.
I second it.
All in favor? Let's go.